What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be finishing this truck. We have the rear end done with the lift. It's the 4-inch rough country lift, and now we're going to be starting on the front end. So let's get into it. My buddy's on his way and we're gonna get this thing finished up today, so stay tuned. We're getting this done. All right, so starting up front, what we've done is we've taken the wheels off and we have disconnected the sway bar end links. That's done. We disconnected the lower shock. That's done. Now what we got to do is remove the coil spring retainer. That way the coil spring can come out. And right now what we're going to do is blow these off because they're filled with dirt and grime and crap. We got to get them cleared out so we can get a wrench on there. So we're going to blow them off real quick and hopefully zip that nut off the top and get the coil spring out. Okay, so as you can see, we have the coil springs out now, and what we got to do is remove this factory axle pivot right here, and we have a new one to put in. This one, which is longer, to allow the axle to drop down. So that's what we're going to work on. We're going to remove this bolt. We have a jack underneath the axle so it doesn't fall whenever we remove this, because there's nothing holding the other side up. Just like this side, it is loose. It will float up and down. So as soon as I remove that bolt, it would fall. We're going to remove this bolt now that we have this supported. Remove these 4 bolts that are up top and put the new one in place. Alright, so this is the passenger axle pivot mount. We have got it off the truck. They had 4 rivets. They wanted us to drill out on the truck. We didn't do that. We took a grinding disc and cut all the bolts or the rivets off. What we did was we brought it over here to the vise, we ran them off flush, and then we pounded them out with a punch. So that's how we did that. We got this out of there. That's done. Now we just got to put the new bracket on, which we have sitting over here. This new bracket comes with new bolts. This gets mounted up with 4 new bolts, and then the bolts to hold the passenger pivot mount on. So now we're going to install that. Okay, so on the front end you can see we got our shocks in. We put these in when we had the arm back here unattached. This cross member, we took it out because you have drop brackets that need to go in. The bolts to hold these drop brackets in, there's 2 bolts up inside here, and this original bracket here is what used to bolt up there to the frame. So it's the exact same mounting points. The 2 bolts in the bottom are those ones up there, and then you also have 2 more. You got 1 up there and 1 back there that holds this bracket on, and then the original cross member attaches to this bracket, and that's what drops the front end down the 4 inches. And then this arm attaches to that, just like they did in the factory. We got, like I said, the coil springs in. We have plenty of room with the brake lines. He will probably need to get longer brake lines at some point because they are stretched out quite a bit whenever he has it at full droop. Shocks are in, and we have the new pitman arm in. That was a pain in the butt to get off. They always are. If you don't know, if you take a pitman arm off, you need a pitman arm puller. Unless you make one, but pitman arm puller is your friend. So pick up one of these guys right there. You're gonna want one, and you tighten it down with a wrench, not a impact gun. You don't want to use an impact gun on these. So tighten it down with a wrench, and then get as tight as you can. Whack it on the bottom of this bolt right here with a hammer. Just keep whacking on it, and then go back with the wrench and tighten down on it again, and eventually this arm will pop off. It's a pain in the butt and it takes forever sometimes, but it does pop off. This end over here, once you go to put it back on, you're gonna need to keep pressure on it. Something that we had a problem with, and he's gonna end up replacing this because it's bad, is that this bolt that goes through there will spin when you go to tighten this nut down. So you get a tool right there. You just grab one of them, and you put it over this, you clamp it down, and you don't have to use a C-clamp. That's something I've always used. So C-clamp to keep it tight while you're tightening this bolt down. That works. You get it down as tight as you can, and then you tighten it down to the next hole so you can get this cotter key through it. You gotta put one of these cotter keys in it. So that's that. This right there, that plate, the original axle pivot point was right here. and it was attached to this. We had to drill all those out. You seen that earlier. So we got to put this new plate on, same exact mounting position, same exact bolt pattern, everything. We just put new bolts in, mounted it to the frame, and then that drops this axle pivot down. Buddy's working on the other side right now, getting the shock in. And that's about it for the front end. There's a lot of just labor involved, but not a whole lot of parts to go on. So that's where we're at with the front end. We got to get the sway bar end links on. That's just kind of sitting there temporary right now. So sway bar end links got to be put on, and put the wheels on, drop it to the ground, go over and torque everything. So that's where we're at. He's getting the shock on. Here's the shock's on. We'll drop it down, and I will show you torquing everything down. As you can see, the truck's on the ground. We are going through right now and torquing everything to spec. So how you do this is you start, or how I do it, I start from one end of the truck. This is the front end. There's the grill. I start from the front end, and anything that I messed with, I will touch, and I will go through and torque. So, sway bar end links, done. I went through and torqued them. The axle pivot, done. Went through and torqued it. Same with the axle pivot mount. Went through and torqued them. And I worked my way from the front all the way to the back. And I just go over everything that I touched. If you're questioning whether or not you did it, just go through it again. So, that's what we're currently doing. We're going through, torquing everything, making sure everything is tight and down to where it needs to be. So working from the front, I come all the way back. That plate right there, I went through and torqued them. Make sure that was done. Same thing back here. Torqued all of these bolts. Also the two that are, or the four, there's two down here. And there's two more on the inside like I showed you earlier. Went through and torqued those. Come back here to the back. Torque these. And then I just keep working my way back. Also, if you're doing this, don't forget to torque these up. These need to be loosened so that your cross member can be slid apart so that you can get your new brackets in. Because this is a little bit thicker than the frame. So you're pushing this out, this right here, out by that much on both sides. So you had to loosen these so you can spread it apart. Once you got it in, you tighten it all back up. Those are tight. Working my way to the back of the truck, I went through and tightened down the leaf spring shackle bushings, front and rear on both sides. He's back there doing the other shackle bushing on the back. And that's how we're doing this. We're just going through and touching every single bolt that we have and that we messed with. So we're gonna get that done, pull the truck out, and see how it does on that stress test. Truck's done, it's out of the garage. He's backed it up, moved it forward, so he pretty much just pulled to the end of the driveway here and brought it back to here. It is done though, the lift is on, everything's torqued, everything's good. So we're gonna proceed with his flex test. I'm gonna close this tailgate so that he doesn't lose anything out of here. And then he's gonna roll over to the Ghetto homemade ramp and do the flex test again, see how high he gets. First test drive. Just gonna see how far off his alignment feels. See if we're gonna adjust his alignment and change it, or if he's just gonna ride with it for now. Oh yeah, you can see his front wheels bowed down. He'll be back. His alignment's way off. He needs to get an alignment. My way. Okay, come forward. Stump straight forward. Okay. Creep up. Okay, flex test is done. Took us a while. That board's messed up. Spec tire just came off the ground back there. He did get substantially higher though. We went from 14 inches down here up to, let's measure that again. The last test, same thing. We had it to where his back tire had just come off the ground. And now he's at, if I can get this on flat ground, looks like 20 inches. So 14 to 20. We could walk around to the truck. This is a really bad spot to do this anyway. Just because his front right tire dug into the ground. It's definitely not tucking as bad back here. And as you can see, there's a hole back here in the ground. So getting up onto that, there's a hole underneath the tire. But the lift is on, seems to be working. He's definitely quite a bit higher than he was before. So, successful. Now he's got some wheels and tires to put under it. There's a flex test. Now he's gonna back down. That was the end of our test. Board's gone. Alright. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you found anything helpful, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Catch you guys in the next video.